Well, hi, everybody. Well, here we are. It's Friday, and it's the wrap up for the week. So I wanted to take the cards that we pulled this week and talk a little bit about that and kind of how that played out for us. If you remember, Monday was our card realization. And the card says, the frequency of realization supports the internal process of becoming aware of our heart-centered truth, as well as the external process of becoming our highest expression in this world. And I think we talked about truth and how your truth may not necessarily jive with somebody else's truth, and that's okay, because we all have different perspectives and we all view things in a different way. So our frequency of realization is really about standing in our truth, going into our heart, feeling what our heart has to tell us, and moving from that place. So then the next one that came on Wednesday's card was delight. And delight is the frequency of delight supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. The more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. So that speaks directly to the law of vibration, which basically says everything has a vibe. You cannot not communicate. You cannot not send a vibe. And so when we talk about the frequency of delight, we also talk about the idea that in order for your manifesting to really, really come about, it's got to come from the place of joy, the place of delight. That is not to say ever, ever, ever that you ignore your negative emotions, because your negative emotions are just emotions, and they're yet another piece of your toolbox, another tool in your toolbox for creating the life that you want. Okay. And then finally we hit with change. And change, frequency of change, supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. And remember, again, as you are creating a new person, as you are becoming a new person, it feels uncomfortable. It's going to feel uncomfortable. And part of our journey as spiritual beings is to understand that we can hold dualities. We can hold two completely opposite feelings and have both of them be true. And we know that. So when we talk about change, we talk about the idea that it's constant, that we flow with it, and that we embrace it. And yes, absolutely, uncomfortable as shit. That's the way of things. That's the way it goes. But if you can just hold on to the idea that you get to choose how you perceive things, you get to choose how you react. You just need to learn how to bring things down to, well, giving yourself space to bring it down to a conclusion where you just stop, notice your emotion, and wait, and learn to be patient and learn to understand what those emotions are trying to tell you before you make a decision about your next move. So, interesting week, interesting reading to go with that week. So if you've been along with me, check in with these definitions and see if you felt anything that came up this week that has to do with it. If there was great change, if you did find delight, if you did come to some kind of realization, let me know about that in the comments, and we'll see you next week when we begin our next journey through stuff. We begin our next journey with the cards through the week.